Good afternoon, everyone. This is Darcy Sequin. I will be chairing the April 20th meeting of the H.B.D.C. And we will begin with Sarah Clark, Central Permitting Coordinator, reading the Governor's Directive for Zoom meetings.
Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairperson. This meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted remotely in accordance with Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and shall afford adequate alternative means of public access via Microsoft Teams by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 159-607-502, pound. Or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue, hearing, or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll do a roll call. I see Sam has joined us. Sam Streiber.
Yes,
Steve
I'm
DeBoer.
here.
Steve DeBoer is here.
Janet Whittemore.
Janet Whittemore here.
Darcy Sequin. It's 4 of us today. Sam, I wonder if the commissioners would mind if we just skip to let's see, Sandy Wyckoff, so that you don't have to stay into the whole meeting. Anybody mind if we do that first? Then we can get into signs and everything. Is that okay?
I don't see any problem. Which one would you,
Chatham
say
Code
again?
22-027.
Andrew Wyckoff, okay. Modification, 22-027, Chatham Clothing Bar, care of Sandra Wyckoff. Application to modify the certificate of appropriateness for the exterior facade of the structure located at 534 Main Street.
Sandy,
And
you're muted.
Thank you, Darcy.
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Sandy Wyckoff, the owner of the Chatham Clothing Bar at 534 Main Street. And we had applied for a slight modification for the front of the building. And it turns out with the engineering that we were able to put in place, we will not be modifying anything. It will be exactly as it was presented and approved at the last.
Oh, we lost you. You're muted again.
check your microphone.
There you go.
How much did you hear? Did you hear anything?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last sentence, I think we missed.
No,
I'd just
I
like
heard
to-
the
So,
Yeah, I'd like to withdraw the application for the minimal changes.
okay. I would like a motion, please.
I will make a motion to accept the request to withdraw the application. 22-027 Chatham Clothing Bar, care of Sandra Wyckoff.
Steve
I need a
DeBoer will
second.
second that. Steve will
Thank
second
you.
that.
Thank you very much. Sam, are you in favor? We need to vote. Sam,
In favor.
Steve,
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Janet,
Janet Whittemore in favor.
and Darcy Sequin votes in favor. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Thank you. You all have been fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Good luck.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thank you. Okay, Sam, what's next on the agenda?
Starting off with signs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have we done
Back
that?
up, back up.
Have we-
I forgot to do the minutes. Let's do the minutes.
All
Sorry.
right.
Where's Dan when you need him? Does anybody have anything?
No.
Okay, hearing nothing, can I have a motion, please, on the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
I need a second.
Same time.
And Steve DeBoer will second that.
Okay, all in favor? Sam,
Sam Stoddard in favor.
Steve DeBoer,
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Janet Whittemore,
Janet Whittemore's in favor.
okay, now Sam, you can proceed. First merchant,
Oh, do you want me to read the, I'm sorry, you just have to cue me up here. 22-021, First Merchant Payment Systems LLC, care of Ryan Winter. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 791 Main Street.
okay, before you begin, I just want to say that there are 4 of us today, and you would need a 3 in favor to approve your application.
Okay.
It's our quorum, okay? So it's up to you if you want to proceed. If you're good
All
with
right.
it, we're good with it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
Go ahead, tell us who you are and what you'd like to do, please.
I'm Ryan Ware with First Merchant Payment Systems. We are actually applied for the first one. It looks like you guys are doing the wall sign. We applied for a wall sign you'll see on the left-hand side of that screen. We're looking for, it's 96 inches by 18 inches. It's 12 square foot with our name and logo, black background, white lettering, and some blue writing on there. You can see the colors in the dome on the bottom. We're just trying to get that mounted directly to the wall. No brackets needed.
Right. Dan, do you have any comments or questions?
Darcy, the Central Permitting Coordinator has reviewed the proposed sign and says that it complies with the sign bylaw
Okay, great.
regarding
Thank you.
walls. Sorry.
Do you have any questions or comments? I can come back to you if you'd like. Let me come back to you.
Okay.
Steve, questions or comments?
Yeah, I don't have any, I don't really have any questions about the sign per se, but there's some wording in the, and I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but there's some wording in the application that might be wrong. Application 22-021 refers to a ground sign.
Well, there should be 2 permits.
Yeah, but but the description actually talks about a wall sign. So it looks like there's, I don't know who has to correct that or if it's actually necessary to correct that, but the descriptions are not correct.
In the application itself?
Yeah.
Yes,
The way
Steve,
the app-
I do see that. We can correct it on our end.
Okay.
And if you'd like, since the application did get numbered 21 as the ground sign, we can have that get presented first for the ground sign. And 22 is the wall sign per the application. It's just the agenda and the advertisement, the numbers got switched around.
Yeah. So I don't know if it even makes a difference or not, but
We'll go off of what the applications say because that's what the record will be in our files.
okay.
Okay, so.
But other than that, I have no questions about the sign. It's fine.
Okay. Sam?
I have no questions about the sign. I found I had to take all the applications, take the staples out and reorganize them. It was consistent. And that's okay.
That's okay.
We're talking about the wall sign right now, and the wall sign beats my approval.
Janet?
I find the sign is attractive. I have no qualms with it at all. Thank you.
Are you ready to vote? I'm ready to make a motion, please. Somebody.
I
Come on,
move
guys,
that
there's
we-
only 4 of us today. I need a
I move
motion.
that- You want me to make the motion? I move that we accept the application 22-021 First Merchants Payment System, care of Ryan Winter, application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 791 Main Street.
And Steve DeBoer will second that.
Thank you very much.
Darcy, I do need Sam to modify that, so it's application 22-22 rather than 22-21, so it's consistent with the application rather than the ad. Sorry, Sam.
Okay, so modified.
Do we need to go through the second and all that? Is it okay? Does he have to second it as modified?
Just have Steve second as modified.
I'll second that. 22-022 as modified.
Okay. Janet, you'll be voting today. Are you in favor?
I'm in favor. Janet Whittemore's in favor. Thank you.
Sam Stryber? Steve DeBoer?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Darcy Sequin is in favor. Okay, thank you. Next.
So we're moving to 22-022 First
gonna
Merchant
be-
Payments.
It's going to be 21. The applications were mixed up.
22-21 First Merchant Payment System LLC, care of Ryan Winter. Application to install a wall sign
Ground.
on
Ground
the
sign.
Ground sign.
sign located at 791 Main Street.
Ryan, could you tell us who you are again, please?
Yes, ma'am. This is Ryan Winter with First Merchant Payment Systems. We asked for a ground sign. It is going to be the same colors as the wall sign. It will be constructed on the outside with 4x4 posts with a white PVC outside the post to cover that. It's a 2-part sign. The top half says the First Merchant Payment Systems and Payroll Solutions with the address above it. Underneath it's going to say Payroll Services. It's 14 square foot on the top, 5 square foot on the bottom, and the colors are described as below.
Now, the first one that you presented that we're seeing right now is the one that you prefer. I know you gave us some other choices. That the one, that's the one you prefer, I assume. You have payroll services in 3 different kinds here. You see what I mean?
It would be on that same form. It's just the one on the right picture of that picture. It's up there
Okay, very
with
good.
the person standing next to it.
Okay. Steve, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I don't have any questions. I know we were given, I guess, 3 options. I guess I actually preferred the single sign where everything was on one sign, but if the applicant prefers 2 panels, that's okay with me also.
Sam?
Yes, I prefer, no, I'm happy with the applicant's preference as well. And I think the sign is a very nice sign. So,
Janet? Sorry, go ahead, Sam. Janet?
Yes, I agree with Sam. I think it's a handsome sign. Thank you.
Okay. I need a motion. Somebody make a motion, please.
Janet,
I can't.
I move that we accept 22-021 application to install a ground sign on the structure located at 7091 Main Street.
Steve DeBoer will second that.
Thank you. Janet, are you in favor?
Janet Whittemore's in favor.
Steve DeBoer?
I'm sorry, Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Stryber,
And Robert is in favor.
Percy Siegel is in favor. Thank you, Ryan. Good luck
All
to
right.
you.
Thank
very
you. You guys
much.
have a great night. I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Good luck.
Casey, and what's up next?
We have another sign, 22-025, Island Pursuit, care of Signorama, application to install a roof sign on the structure located at 1238 1238 Main Street. And the sign coordinator has declared that the sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Peter?
Hi, Peter Swiderski from Signorama. I'm the sign company that would be installing the existing sign at the new location. We would be using roof mounting brackets to install the sign. That sign is a carved sign that you had previously approved when it was located at 1238 Main, 624 Main Street in Chatham. So it's, it's the same sign, just being relocated.
Okay, very good. Steve DeBoer, any questions or
No,
comments?
I think it's fine. It doesn't appear that there's any lighting fixtures near it, so I'm assuming it's not being lit at night.
I don't get involved in doing lighting or electrical. There is, that building is going to have three, from my understanding, 3 storefronts or 3 businesses. I guess the original business in there, if you look to the left, there are floodlights lighting that location. I'm not sure if the owners are going to be doing that. We've been contracted just to install the sign on the roof.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sam?
I like the sign. It certainly fits with the building. It's not oversized in any way. I think they'll be setting it farther up the roof if they light it, unless they use some of these LED lighting fixtures, which are very, very thin. All in all, I can approve this.
Janet Whittemore?
Yes, I think it's a lovely sign, and it looks like a really good location. I wish you the best of luck in your new location.
Thank you.
Anyway,
Would someone like to make a motion?
um,
I'll move that we approve. I move that we move the application of 22-025 Island Pursuit, care of Signorama, application to install a roof sign on the structure located at 1238 Main Street.
And Steve DeBoer will second that.
Thank you. Janet Whittemore, how do you vote?
I vote in favor of the sign. Thank you.
Steve DeBoer?
I vote to approve.
Sam Stryber?
I vote to approve.
Darcy
Sam
Siegel
Stryber.
votes to approve. Thank you very much and good luck in your new location.
Thank you.
Sam, what's next?
In addition, alteration 22-23 William Ravis, care of Sonny Fellman, application to install a shed on the property located at 37 Cross Street.
I just want to, Sonny, I just want to alert you that you need 3 votes to pass this, okay?
Thank you.
Up to you if you'd like to continue.
I would like to continue. Thank
Great.
you all for hearing me tonight. My name is Sunny Fellman. I'm the manager of the William Ravis Chatham office. And we are looking to add a shed. As you can see from the application, we provided pictures and size of it. The picture you're looking at now is what is existing. There is a, what I would call temporary plastic shed to the right, and then you can see the blue bins, which are belonging to Le Petit Day Spa, which we share the building with. So the new shed would go in the same place where those are. The blue bins would no longer be there. Those would be inside the shed. So I think definitely an improvement from what you're seeing from Main Street and from the parking lot. The shed would be larger than the shed we have now because it would be shared between us and the spa. The shed we have now, I believe, is 6 by 8, and the shed we're looking to install is 8 by 12. The exterior of the shed in the front will be cedar shingles, and the sides and rear will be board and batten, all natural wood. The doors, there'll be 2 doors on front because there'll be a partition inside for each business. There'll be beadboard white, all the trim will be white, and the shingles on the roof, I think it's called a nickel gray. I think that's about it.
Okay, Steve DeBoer, any comments or questions?
No, I think it is a vast improvement over what's there currently. I'm just wondering if, and I don't know if it's our purview, but if there's any setback limitations, or do you need to address that at all?
So we've looked into that. I believe it's 5 feet on either side, which is
Okay.
what is existing, and we will continue absolutely with that. Yep.
Okay, so other than that, I think it's a very good improvement. So
Thank
good
you.
idea.
Sam?
Yeah, so I'm relieved to find that the blue things will be gone, or at least wheeled into the shed. And so the shed itself, the board and batten isn't exactly a preferred siding, but it is acceptable and it will weather. And you will have white cedar shingles in the front anyway.
Natural cedar shingles, not white.
No, but that's the name of the wood. The wood is called white cedar.
Oh, white cedar. Oh, I see. Okay, yes. Gotcha.
You're getting a pre-finish, probably.
Yep.
Okay, so I have no other further questions.
Janet, do you have any questions or comments?
I have no questions, no comments. I'm in favor. Thank you.
Or do I? Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to accept application 22-23, William Rivas, care of Sonny Feldman, application to install a shed on the property located at 37 Cross Street.
And Steve DeBoer will second that.
Thank you. Janet Whittemore, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Sam Stryber,
And Stryber votes in favor.
Steve DeBoer,
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
and Darcy Sequin is in favor. Thank you very much, Sonny.
Thank you,
all.
Sunny.
Take care.
Have a great night. Thanks. Okay, who's up next, Sam?
Next is another addition, alteration, 22-026, Public Cafe, care of Jake Ferreira. Application to install ductwork, exhaust, and supply fan on the structure located at 641 Main Street.
Okay, again, I just want to state that you will need 3 votes in favor to pass this. So if you'd like to continue, please let us know you're here. Are you here?
Yes, I am here, Jake. Yeah, my name's Jake Ferrer. I work for a company called Horatios. We're out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the additional ductwork at the Public Cafe over on 641 Main Street in Chatham to the Public Cafe. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Jake, this is Sarah. I'm sharing my screen with the application you submitted.
He needs to turn on his monitor or his camera. He's
Jake,
now
are you
lost
still
his.
there? Jake? I think we may have lost him for a moment. Jake, can you hear us?
Darcy, it appears that he's still there. At least he's showing up on the people list.
Yeah, I don't see him. I don't know if he's muted or, oh, he said he's leaving.
Um,
Okay, should we just go on to the next? It's going to be a long application. That's the only thing.
It will have some length to it, yes.
Probably happened when he tried to share a screen.
Most likely.
All right, how about if we just, we'll wait a few minutes for him. Let's do the administrative approval. See if
Okay.
we can get back on.
Administrative approval, 22-028 Chatham Village Cafe, care of Jason Muto. Ratification of certificate of administration approval to replace the roof on the structure located at 69 Crowell Road.
Okay, so this one was Doug and Darcy. They were replacing the roof from its existing and going to a pewter wood roof, which is a color that the board typically sees and approves.
Yeah, we've approved that before. So can I have a motion, please?
I move that we accept, we ratify the certificate of administrative approval for 22-028 Chatham Village Cafe, care of Jason Muto. The application to replace the roof on the structure located at 69 Crowell Road as presented.
And Steve DeBoer will second that.
Thank you. Janet Whittemore, how do you vote?
I vote in favor. It looks, will be more attractive than the current color of the roof, I think. Will go nicely with the building.
Thank you. Steve DeBoer,
Steve DeBoer votes to approve.
Sam Stryber,
Sam Stryber votes to approve.
and Darcy Sequin votes to approve. It looks like Jake might be back with us again. Jake, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I
All
tried
right,
to share
terrific.
the screen and it kicked me off.
Okay.
Apologies. I'm not sure how much you heard. I can
Yeah.
do another introduction if the time.
Jake,
allows
you won't
for
need
it.
to share your screen because I
Okay.
take care of doing that for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I stated to you or not whether you need 3 positive votes to move forward. And I think you said you were okay with it.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm aware and I approve. Thank you.
Okay.
For your time.
Just-
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Just introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like to do.
Yep. So again, my name's Jake Ferrer. I work for a company called Horatios out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. The owner of the public cafe has contracted us to install a makeup air hood inside of the public cafe. So what you're looking at now is the existing structure. What this new makeup air hood will require is that we install some exterior ductwork, some exhaust ductwork, and some intake ductwork that needs to be on the exterior part of the building. What you're looking at now is the proposed duct route for both of those runs of duct. In the blue is the fresh air ductwork that will be, it's tough to see in the picture, but there's an existing penetration there that we can reuse. And the red will need to cut an additional opening for the ductwork to pass through the side of the building, as well as through that kind of deck overhang to get through up to the roof on either side of that deck that you're looking at there. And on the roof, there will be a supply fan, which is labeled IN for intake, and an exhaust fan labeled EX for the exhaust. So trying to avoid going up through the existing units above, the proposed route would be to go through the exterior and the side of the building. Currently, this proposed installation will only be visible from that back lot. I do believe that is a public lot as well as a private. I think both. Are used. That's used for. So the ductwork for the exhaust is 16 by 16, but it'll be more like 20 by 20 with the insulation around it. It's welded. It's welded exhaust ductwork that will be insulated, and the exposed fresh air, which is in blue, will be 14 by 14 exposed duct, galvanized, that typical duct gray color.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's pretty much it. The roof is I think it's around a 5 or a 6 pitch, so it won't the fresh air, both exhaust and fresh air fans won't be visible from Main Street. As I said, they'll only be visible from the parking lot. So the owner of the public cafe is renting, but I have since gotten approval from the property owner, who's, I believe, Ronald Roderick, has okayed these additions and changes. So that's kind of my spiel there.
All right, Steve DeBoer, comments or questions?
Well, I was hoping I wasn't going to go first, but
We can ask Sam.
that's okay. I mean, I guess I have a lot of questions. This is a pretty drastic, I think, modification to this building. You're going to be cutting holes in that overhang to get the ductwork through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, I guess that's an apartment that they're going to run on either side of its small deck that they have. And then what are you going to do when you get to the gutter line at the roof? What are you going to have to do to the roof to compensate for a 20 by 20 duct?
There won't be any modifications to the roof. We'll just be adding we'll have to secure the ductwork and the fans to the roof.
But if it runs up the exterior of the building, how are you going to do that? Is it going to curve around the gutter? If it's running on the exterior of the building, that gutter sticks out probably. It looks like probably at least a foot. So how are you going to get around that?
Yeah, so we'll secure the ductwork to the side of the building with brackets, and then we'll offset to get around the gutter to get to the roof.
Okay. Well, I guess I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say, but looking at this, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't know if there's any alternatives to doing this, but I know it's the back side of the building that faces the parking lot. But I'm not crazy about what's being proposed.
Sam?
Jake, what you describe here and what you show is exactly what I would expect from an installer to know. And this is not, none of this information, I mean, this information is useful to us, but it doesn't tell us one bit about what this is going to look like. And I do see this picture of the fan, and it's horrendous, and quite close, and you'll have it quite close to the roof edge, so it'll be very prominent on the face of this building. And then you said that the ductwork itself, which you haven't really, you don't have a good idea of how you would get around the soffit, the fascia, and the gutter to get up on the roof, because you certainly can't wiggle it around. You have to go through it. And if you go through it, you only have about a 6-inch soffit here to go through it. You're going to have to widen the duct to get the same CFMs to go through. And the idea that this would be gray would be the worst thing you could do. I mean, black would be the worst. White would be possible. And could you make it less square and flatten it so that it doesn't stick off the wall so much?
Yeah, what we've done in the past is we can flatten it out while still maintaining the proper CFM. But what we've done in the past in other historical areas is we've covered the ductwork, and we've even painted the ductwork similar color to the side of whatever facade it's going up against. So once we penetrate through the side of the building and we turn up through that overhang, we can transition to a wider and thinner piece of ductwork. We would have to transition back to the specific size that the exhaust fans kind of accept, whether they be 20 by 20 or 14 by 14. But
Now,
something that's less obtrusive or that's
would the equipment be set back in your mind?
When you say equipment, the fans?
The fans, yeah. Would they be set back in the face of
Yes.
the wall?
No, they'll be about 4 or 5 feet away from the edge of the that's what the code has to be. They have to be about 5 feet from the edge of the roof there.
Okay. Well, that'll help them being, but they have, they're both ductwork comes in from the bottom, so you'll have a right angle bend there, which has to radius a little bit, and so the thing will be higher by the thickness of the duct, 16 inches in one case and 14 in the other, but you've got this insulation around it, 2 inches of insulation, so the thing's going to stick up off the roof quite a bit. It isn't as simple as just going through the roof and having the duct, sit on top of that piece of ductwork that goes through. So I'm sharing some of Steve's concern how this is going, and now the apartment, the second floor exterior wall does not line up with the first floor. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I believe it does.
It does.
Yes.
I'm surprised. So you come out of the first floor at ceiling height, and then go straight through the roof and go along the wall, and then you're gonna have to have an answer as to how you're going to go through the roof eave, because that makes a big difference. If you can disguise that or keep the gutter line consistent and unmodified, but I'm not sure how you're going to do that, because you have to penetrate into the roof and into the plate packs, the plate of the wall I am finding it very difficult to see how this is going to work. So that's my comment for now. I'd like to help you in any way, because having a restaurant with decent mechanicals makes a big difference.
Janet?
I agree with both Sam and Steve. You know, the pictures are hard to really understand. What I do have a concern. There is residents that live upstairs. Is this going to affect the people who rent upstairs? The upstairs of this building is residential. Am I correct?
Yes.
What's the noise level, Jake, of the vents, the intake?
Well, they're not perfectly quiet. There will be some additional. It depends on how quickly or how powerful that they're going to run these, because they are going to be adjustable in CFM. This exhaust fan right now, let me check the CFM on this, but it is around, the exhaust fan is around 3,500 CFM and the intake is 2,800 CFM. So they're larger fans that won't be completely silent. So I'm sure that they would hear some, they would hear these fans.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Not that they're going to be completely kind of noise canceling. There is an existing exhaust fan. I didn't include in my packet, but there's an existing exhaust fan on the very end of the building that's slightly smaller than the one I'm proposing. I couldn't tell you how loud it was. It wasn't running when I was there looking at it, but there is an existing exhaust fan on the end of that building.
So this fan will be running as long as he is cooking, or is it all day? Does it have to run all day, or just when he's cooking? How does that work?
So what we've been contracted to provide is just a simple on-off control panel. So whenever he's cooking and that fan's he flips a switch, he can wire it to his lights and into his exhaust fan and intake fan. They'll turn on. It'll be on for as long as that hood is on. So it's a seasonal restaurant, I believe. I think he opens up right around the time kind of everybody else does during the season, but it'll be off in the winter time. I'm not exactly sure of what his hours are, but yes, whenever he is cooking, these fans will be on.
I don't have a problem with, putting in new equipment, because it's probably needed, but what I do have a problem is visualizing this. What exactly is it going to look like? Is there any way that you could come back to us with maybe a Photoshop of it or something? I don't know how the other commissioners feel about it.
I would be in agreement with you about that, because it is so difficult to try to visualize this, what's coming out here.
I can try to put together a to scale drawing. I don't know if that would help or just confuse.
Well, it's hard to envision what it's going to look like, and that's our job. Like I said, I'm not opposed to ductwork or fans or anything like that. I think we need to see what it's actually going to look like. Does anybody else have any comments about that?
Is there anything that you can show us of a similar existing installation that's like this? Because also if you make the transition from the sidewall and go 4 or 5 feet up the roof, that ductwork is also going to be visible on the roof.
Right. Right now I have it, I'm describing it as being installed on the roof for ease of service. There's an existing exhaust fan I mentioned earlier that isn't installed on the roof. It's kind of just on the side of the building.
Right, that's where
It
the
looks
intake goes, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks quite difficult to service. So my proposal is to put them on the roof. I can install those in a similar fashion. It's just the service of the thing might be more difficult.
I don't know. I guess if you have something, another picture that's of a similar installation, maybe that we could see, or if you can do something in PowerPoint or something, or I don't know. I guess I'd want to see something a little more clear than this. And I don't know how you're going to make the transition around the eave and the gutter and then go up, the roof 4 or 5 feet. It's sounding worse to me than better. But,
Well, we can
Okay,
either-
I mean, what I can do is put together a drawing to scale with different elevations. Right now, you're just looking at the front elevation. Maybe I can put together a drawing to scale of a side elevation, kind of looking down the side of the building.
And then if you have any other installations that you could just take a picture of, that would be great.
Sure.
All right, so would you like to ask for a continuance to May 2nd meeting? Would you be ready by then?
Yes.
May 4th, Darcy.
Oh, sorry, May 4th. Okay. All right, I will need a motion to continue this. Someone please make a motion to continue to May 4th.
I'll make a motion to accept the continuance for application number 22-026 until May 4th meeting.
Second, please.
I
Second,
second.
I'll make the motion to second it, Sam Stryber.
Janet, how do you vote?
I vote to wait also.
Vote in favor?
Oh, yes, I vote in favor of the May 4th meeting, please. Thank you.
Sam,
Sam Stryber votes to approve.
Steve DeBoer,
Steve DeBoer votes to approve.
Darcy Sequin votes to approve. Just let us know if you have any more questions, Jake, okay?
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next.
Next would be administrative approval.
We already did that, Sam.
We did that. New construction, 22-24, Chatham Productions LLC, Victoria Clark, application to construct a new dwelling located at 20 Annabelle Lane.
Hi, Victoria. I just want to state again. I just want to state again that there are 4 of us, so you will need 3 approvals. So if you'd like to continue, that's up to you. Okay.
I think we'll present and then
Okay.
go from there.
All right, Victoria, go ahead. Thank you.
I believe if Sarah can pull up the application, we can take a look at the visual of the house. And so this is lot 3, which also abuts the Veterans Field. So we can see, one thing I did want to point out, because I know a big concern with lot 4 was how close the house was to the baseball field, that the back left-hand corner of the house, so right there, is about 40 feet from the property line. And then the back right-hand corner is about 30 feet from the property line, just so we know that, so the distance, because I know that that was a big concern of how close we were, especially because the batting cage and the utility shed of Veterans Field is so close to the property line, as we've seen. But so that's something I wanted to point out, so we know that it's not as close. And then visually, this is the proposed landscaping plan, which obviously is not in as much detail. So we figured, similar to lot 4, that we would come back with a proposed landscaping plan further down the line once we have established what kind of plantings we will use and that sort of thing. So this is the front elevation of the house. It is a little confusing because of the shape of the house. So this is the front, which is facing the lot number 2, which is the lot next door. So this is the side that is facing, I guess, closest to, no, I don't know what direction is actually off the top of my head.
The furthest away from the ball field.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So that's the furthest away from the ball field. So, and if we go to the next, oh, it's the west elevation. So it's facing the west side. I didn't even notice that. And then next one. So the garage, as you can see, this lot is shaped like a panhandle. So the driveway, which is where why the garage is located on that side. So we drive up that way. And so then this is the side that is facing lot number 4. So this is the side of the house. And then this is the back of the property that faces the ball fields. So very similar, some 2 sliding doors, as well as a lot of windows for light. And then on this side is facing the Monomoy Theater, or the front property, the Monomoy Theater and the Washington Taylor House. So this has the side door into the mudroom as well as the door into the garage. And I did not include it, I forgot to, but all of the trim details are the same trim details from the previous house of lot 4. If you would like me to resend them, I can do that as well. But that's the biggest thing with the exterior, because obviously there is a lot of heavy trim details on this house.
You want us to start with some comments, or do you want to?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We can start with comments on the exterior, and
Okay.
that's a great way to start.
Sam, would you like to start?
I'm just trying to sort out a little bit how the elevations work.
I believe it is 28 feet.
Excuse me?
I believe the height is 28 feet.
Oh, okay. I didn't ask that. That's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard you. I thought you asked what the height was.
Just
That was
trying to work
my fault.
what was here. First, let me say something positive. The materials and elements that you've selected, the stone wall, the garage doors, although look at this garage door, I don't think you're gonna, if you have this projected window above the garage door, I don't think you'd make an arch top. This is it's labeled column, well, it's a little garage door, obviously, and it's set way in, but the transom lights are projected here, as you could see. I don't think that's very good. It is what it is. I like the stonework. I like the detailing that's shown. I like your selection of doors. The mudroom door probably could have a kickboard. The depth, I know that Marvin makes these bottom rail for a door the same as the sides and top, and they shouldn't do that. I prefer, but Marvin is a good maker, so I don't think you're going to go wrong. The doors, windows are good, the cedar shingles. Now, you're doing red cedar, roofing is red cedar, and you'll have some kind of light pre-finished shingle. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, when I look at the plans to try to get myself figured out, basically, and the elevations don't show any walkout space. That's because the whole house is down. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, because of the drop in the ground and the topography. There's no walkout space. That is correct.
Well, you're running 8 feet through the side of the house. When I look at the site plan, I see these 42 to 36 running into a fairly steep drop off. But the elevations are all showing a single ground line. So there must be some mistake. That's all I can see. You see,
That might be an error
if the
from,
ground drops off from the front of the house, from the garage slab at 43, the goes down to 36 down at the very back of the house, and your elevations don't show any whatever that's going to be. And the east elevation, which is on that side, shows a patio right on the door, right under the door, and in the proposed patio here doesn't go to the, doesn't, on the site plan, doesn't match what it does on here. And that proposed patio has to be down 6 feet. So you've got stairs and stuff to get to it, or you have a walkout. And I think what you're proposing is a walkout here, and you should show it on the east elevation. So for that reason, I think,
I do think Greg is trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
I think that might have been an error from David Clark, because we didn't plan for it to be a walkout, so that might be an error.
Yeah, so Sam, on David's plan, I see you're saying the grade from 44 at the front of the driveway down to 36. He has, so Mark's drawings don't take into consideration that you're going to have more steps coming out of that east elevation. Right now, he shows basically 3 steps down to grade, which is, not even going to be 2 feet. So that would be different. That would require, he was showing a patio there coming out. That patio would have to have a couple steps coming down from it, in addition to the steps down to get onto the patio. So you're correct. That has to be reworked, but no, there's no, we don't have enough grade there to try to do a walkout. So there is no intention to have a walkout on this building. Okay.
Okay, so the lower level plan, which is titled on the first floor plan, if you look at the plan, you see it says first floor plan and lower level plan right next to each other.
Yeah.
So some
Yeah.
things. No
Yeah,
problem
so
there. But I'm assuming that's all going to be foundation and unfinished.
Correct. So you have the lower level, he shouldn't have a lower level plan on there. It should say just the first floor plan like he had below that. Because if you look at the elevation of the east, you see those sliders which are on the first floor off the living room. And then you see on the second floor that
Is this what you want to look at?
It's on the screen. Second floor, the triple bay windows, which are basically above the sliders. So on that elevation, the east elevation, if you look at it, you see the triple bay on the second floor, and then these sliders on the first floor. So he has that mislabeled as both lower level and first floor. There is no lower level walkout on this building. It is just first floor and second floor. So we'll have him make the correction on that and address that. You're correct, because if we're coming into the house at the front elevation, which is the west elevation.
Yes, it is the
west elevation, and he shows going up a couple of steps to get to it, then you'd have to come down a couple of steps and you'd be off by 4 feet. So he has that incorrect according to the grading. But there's only a 4-foot difference, which doesn't allow us to do anything for a walkout there. So there's no intention to have a walkout. We'll have our architect and engineers make the corrections on that to coordinate that. Okay.
I'm going to be, I can't see how this is going to be accomplished in a simple way. You've got just too many, you've got 8 feet to compensate for. And so you're either not going to go out of the living room and or you're going to have a deck. So, and the deck is going to be a difficulty. You're going to have to either raise the grade or do something. I'm not so concerned. My main problem with the house, as all of the 5 houses that have been presented, is I think they're way too big. On the other hand, you're going to charge a good rate, and some of that money is going to be used for the Monomoy Theater. I'm assuming.
Yes, that is correct. That is, as we're presenting the...
For the theater, I would have refused to accept any of the houses at the size. I think they're way oversized. A 20-foot bedroom is just nonsensical to me. But people come here wanting to buy 20-foot bedrooms for whatever reason. I don't know. So anyway, that's my comments.
Steve?
Well, thank you for explaining that. I was kind of looking at that and I wasn't really understanding, but I do now. And I understand that there's probably been a mistake made with some of the elevations. So if you can correct that, that would, make more sense. But other than that, I think it's a fine looking house. I agree that they are a little big for the area, but it's a fine looking house. So I have no other questions.
Janet?
We will have them.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I agree with both Steve and Sam on the size of the house, but there's nothing we can do about that at this point. That should have been stopped through the planning board, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, it is attractive. Were you planning to do grading to make it work?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back to the engineers, and they're gonna have to fix those grades to make that proper in the back, which is actually okay, because our site contractor that we were talking with, this has told us that there's excess material on site right now based upon the grading plan that was done by our engineer. So we have plenty of material there that we can raise the grade, which actually will help provide more screening at the ball field. As you know, we propose to put a fence with trees on the town side of that property and also on our side of the fence, which we've had conversations with town manager and another person there about arranging to do that as a donation. So by raising that grade up, I think it actually would be better. We can get those trees up even higher by putting a little berm over there. We're required to contain all water runoff anyway from our property. We can't run onto anyone else's property. The preliminary design on the lots by the engineer has us putting in 3 self-contained leaching chambers. Okay, so we'll get back together with them and get them to figure this out the right way, and
Thank
come
you.
back in front of you with the correct plans. Okay.
Couple questions for you. The chimney, is that going to be stone?
I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And color of the roof, what are you doing there? I don't know. If there's-
Red cedar shingles.
It'll be red cedar shingles on natural. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with my other commissioners. I think it's pretty large. It's almost 4,000 square feet, correct? Living space?
Correct.
Yes, that is correct.
I mean, the design, I think the design is great. I just think it's too large. Is there any way you can resize
Well,
that?
What we did was when the architect designed it initially, but over the last couple of weeks, he's brought it down to, I think it's the same size, pretty much the same size as the house on lot 4 at this point. It was larger, and the house on lot 4 that was approved was how much? 38?
38, 34,
34. This is what, 3,900?
39, yeah, 89.
And so he
Yeah.
was tweaking that, and he was concerned about roof lines, is what he told us, but we can go back to him and see if he can tweak a little bit more out of that. Okay.
If you could, that would be great. Do you want to see him? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to, again, the plans don't show what the floor to ceiling heights are. I assume they're 10 feet because you have this transom windows. I thought we had criticized transom windows on other houses. I don't see any reason to have transoms here. And if you could take a foot out of the, a 9-foot ceiling is plenty high enough. You can't touch it.
Sam, I think that Mark has these designed for first floor at 9'2", and then the second floor, because he's losing a lot up on the roof. But I'll check it with Mark. Okay.
But the way he shows that he goes floor to floor, so you don't know that you probably have 2x12s here, and you're losing a foot in the, and doesn't tell us what we need to know is what's generating the bulk of this house. And it's
I agree with you. And if you look at his east elevation,
This was also designed by Mark's partner.
Yeah.
So
we'll get that. But if you look at the east elevation, so the roof line is an average of 28 feet from the surrounding grade, but the first floor is a good couple feet above that. So we lose probably, the 3 steps. We lose almost 2 feet out of the 28. So it's actually only 26 from first floor to the roof line. And that's to the highest of the roof line. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he has those down at 9 and 8, but we'll confirm it. Okay.
So one thing is that the plans, the west elevation and the south elevation, if you look at them, they've been reduced differently. And none of them are reduced to a certain scale. So we have no idea, everything is a little different dimension. And it's just not a completed product to me as a design without the data of size.
I see what you're saying. Those are 2 separate scales.
The same thing. The floor plans are so tiny you can hardly read what's happening inside, and the dimensions that are given are unreadable to me. So anyway, those are I know.
So do you mind?
When you make the plan small, it conveys the figure that these are very cute little projects when they're not. And so I'd like to see a uniform expression. If you can do 11 by 75,
17.
11 by 17 for one, you can do it for all of them and get the images up. And I'd like to see the site plan submitted. When you submit a site plan, have the whole place so we can see how the houses are relating to each other in terms of their bulk. Now, we've already approved lot 4, and so seeing lot 4 on the plan next to this house would tell us a lot.
Okay.
So those are just some rubrics about the design that would help us to understand what we're buying into here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So Greg, would you be prepared for the May 4th meeting? Would you like to continue to May 4th?
Yes, we would, please.
Okay. you want to just request it and then I'll see if someone
Yes,
will make a motion.
we'd like to request being continued to the May 4th meeting, this month, please.
Thanks.
I move that we accept the applicant's request to continue to May 4th. Is that, did I
Yes.
hear right? May 4th.
I have a second.
Steve DeBoer will second that.
Steve DeBoer, are you in favor?
Yes, I am.
Sam Stryber,
Sam Stryber is in favor of the continuance.
Janet Whittemore,
Janet Whittemore is in favor of the continuances, and I understand that we'll have some charts that are easier for us to understand when we look at it in terms of size and comparison. Is that right?
Correct.
yes, I'm sure Greg will do that. Darcy C. All right, so we'll see you in a little bit. I think you have another application coming up. Greg?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We
Do you
have,
want to tell us? Application conference, please.
I think we have a pre-application conference, Chatham Productions LLC, pre-application conference to discuss the potential modifications to the structure located at 776 Main Street.
so this is another rendering based on some of the suggestions that were made at last week's meeting. So we added dormers to the Washington Taylor House because especially if those are going to be apartments for year-round residents, those are realistically bedrooms that would need some additional light. So that was something we were exploring, as well as for all the way to the right for the restaurant. We were thinking of matching the gable end and the bay window of the Washington Taylor House as something to kind of break it up, but also go with the look of the house as well. And then and we also pushed it forward a little bit. So instead of having an entrance that was confusing, the entrance to the restaurant would be a side door, so as to not take away from the theater's main entrance being front and center. And then for the restroom addition, we put some windows to give natural light, but not the whole wall being windows. So that, yes.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Steve?
Well, thank you for, taking or at least considering some of our suggestions. I appreciate that. And I think it's getting more to the point where I was kind of hoping to see. I guess what I had in mind was that, we've got an antique structure in the Washington Taylor House. So I was kind of hoping to see that this sort of outbuilding would look like it was built at the same period of time that the main house was. And I think, we're getting closer to that. It should look like sort of a cohesive compound, and like that everything sort of blends together. So I think, we're getting, and we're moving in that direction. But I do have a few questions about some of the things that maybe you might want to be able to consider doing as well. So the first one, and they all sort of kind of go in sequence. The first one is the space above the restaurant. Is that storage area, or is that a vaulted ceiling there? What is that?
Steve, the intention was not to have it as other usable space. We'd probably have the ceiling higher in there, but then have the HVAC equipment to feed that space up above in that space. Okay.
Right. Okay.
We talked with our architect about it, and he's just not getting into much detail just yet because he wants to see what your thoughts are. So like the gable end there, I'm thinking that some of the members may want to see a couple windows up there, and then have the face of that look, like you said, just like the gable end on the Washington Taylor House. So he hasn't really drawn he hasn't infilled what the siding is on it yet, whether it's clapboards or whether it's
Right.
shingles. He's looking for the H.B.D.C to tell him what they prefer. Because we don't hear either way, whether it's clapboards and we said, hey, maybe the old theater itself remains shingle, and then this addition part is clapboard like the Washington Taylor house, and it will blend in like you had said. And we thought that you're not going to like that big gable wall without having any windows in it. So rather than draw some on there, I'd like to get some feedback from you all and tell us if that's what you're thinking, then he can certainly go put some on there for the next view. Like you said, we've been saying all along, we anticipate this as a couple months of going back and forth with the board to tweak what you want for details there and whatnot. So he pulled that forward. He made that a gable end. It's supposed to reflect a full face, same plain gable with the bay coming out at the bottom, similar to that right gable portion on the Washington Taylor house. Then even in the lobby walkway, breezeway between the theater and the restaurant, which is the waiting area to use the restrooms, we anticipate probably not having that many windows on there, because we're going to want in that location to have wall space to put up some art and put up information about the next shows coming and things like that. Okay, but we just want to get your feedback of what you like, what you don't like. Even on the main entrance to the existing theater, we think it looks very plain. Obviously, that's similar to what the existing one is. But if H.B.D.C tells us that, hey, look, we would like to see something different there. This is the type of entry we would like. We'll definitely, go back to the architect and have him draw it on there. We were lucky this week. We reached out to the National Park Service, and the woman that we've done a couple of projects with, she retired a year and a half ago, but she's now back as a consultant working part-time, which is good because she works with us very well. We tell her what we're going to do, and then she says, yes, that's acceptable, not acceptable pretty quickly. We're still having the issue on getting the theater onto a parking service list, right? Which is not the end of the road. We can still restore it to how the H.B.D.C wants to see it done, and it can be considered historic in town, but it may not make it to the register. The Washington Taylor house, we're closer to to a point that there's a lot of background there, a lot of backup that we can get them to say, yes, this is important in the town, and we can look at getting that on the register, okay? But I think we have more leeway for the H.B.D.C on the theater itself and the restaurant portion itself. So whatever you want to suggest, we're open to listening to and going back to our architect and say, boy, that's why we're here, to just say, hey, whatever you guys want that to look like, we don't have a problem with doing it. We're taking, like we said, we're taking profits off the back to build it. So we're going to build whatever you want. And we want to make sure that everyone's happy with it before we finalize it. That's all.
No, and I think like I said, I think this is much more in line with most of us were thinking than what you had the last time. So the fact that the upstairs above the restaurant is not going to be vaulted, or it's going to be used for maybe mechanicals, it is maybe a good thing, and that kind of leads into my next couple of questions. So would it be possible to raise the height of the sidewalls of the restaurant to match the Washington Taylor house? I know that would change then the angle of the pitch of the roof. But would it be possible to make the corners of that restaurant, at least the front, the same height as the house? And then maybe even put one window or two windows in that gable?
It can be done. It definitely changes the look. The pitch of that gable is going to change dramatically.
Right.
And that's what we did. What we did before, we had a softer pitch on it, right? And then we brought it in because the architect had it drawn another bay over into the lobby.
Yeah.
And that was misleading. So the pitch was softer. Here,
Okay.
this is a true pitch of the building, but if we raise those exterior walls, yeah, the pitch is just going to, it's going to change a little bit. Depends on how high you want to go up.
Right.
You don't want to go up as high as the entrance to the theater. You don't want to go up as high as that second floor.
No. But maybe to like wherever the, I don't know what the height of the house is. It looks like it's lower
Oh,
than
the height of the house. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And then
So
with
I have
the yeah.
Washington Taylor House. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's even possible to do or not, but just a thought. It's a thought.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could get some windows in the gable end.
Yeah. Just to let you know,
Yeah, the other thing that I thought of is, and you actually sort of addressed it when you were speaking before, is the bay window of the Washington Taylor House looks like it's an angle bay, maybe a 30-degree angle bay, but the one in the restaurant is more of a box bay. And I was just wondering if maybe you could make those similar so that it kind of had the same look as the house.
Yeah, so the architect brought this up last week, and he said that by the rendering, it looks like you said, it looks like it's a 30-degree bay. It's actually much closer to 90. What is it?
So the bay at the Washington Taylor House is 22 degrees.
Yeah.
Oh.
And a standard is 45. So the
Right.
one they currently have on the restaurant is 90 because they thought it would be enough to get windows on the side so that it could match similar to the windows on the side bay of.
Yeah, but we don't have a problem either way. If you want to match the bay that's on the Washington Taylor House, that's fine too. It's just breaking up that elevation, really. That's all it's doing.
Right.
And
Well,
if you
then,
look at,
then even the roof over the bay window of the house,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yes.
incorporated into the restaurant roof.
yeah, he drew that. differently, too.
Yeah, and then, the other thing is you mentioned earlier that you also put some dormers on the side of the Washington Taylor House for in case there's apartments up there later on. I'm just wondering if you could do the same thing, at least on the east side of the restaurant as well.
I mean, we certainly could, but
I mean,
if,
these are just suggestions, just things to think
Yeah.
about.
they'd be dormers that windows go just to the attic, obviously, right? But it would give you that look on the exterior, but they wouldn't be
Exactly.
bringing any light down the face. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. It's just, I don't know if it can be done or not, or what it would even look like. But, if you did raise the sidewalls of the restaurant to look more like the Washington Taylor House, it just might, have a different look altogether. That's all.
Yep.
Thank you, Steve. Sam?
Okay, things are getting good here. The pitch of the roof over the restaurant, matching the house, now begins to set that as a relationship, except that the proportions are all screwy. It's just too heavy, too fat, too big on the top, and it looks like you did just that, and then the same one-story roof. In order to do a Greek revival, you have to have the wall height, or at least the pigeon roofs at the end of the gable have to be at a raised and a proportional height. So right now there's too little wall for too much roof, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
So how can you do this? Well, you can take the wall expression of the restaurant, the width, or a little bit bigger than the width of that box bay that's sticking out, and then go up and pick up the roof. That would bring the roof down. Then you do these pieces on the side with the low hip roof going around and connecting to it.
Okay.
And I think you're almost there with that. it's criminal here that we're designing this building without knowing what the floor plan is. And I think you're saying that you can make the floor plan work with whatever we do. I'm
Well,
not 100%. I'm sure that when I propose something on the elevations, and you know what the plan is going to be, I don't know what the plan is going to be. I just know I would fail architecture school if I designed without the plan first.
Yeah. So I think, Sam, I think that, and I'll talk to Charles, the architect, about that specifically. I think that we were getting closer on this. When he does the next version, I'll ask him to put together at least you'll have the floor plan with a box of, this is where this is where the restrooms are, this is where the lobby is, and so, with exits, so that you can follow that better.
I want to look at this so we can craft it smaller. I think it's gotten big so that you can get everything in. That's the easy part of architecture. Make it big, and then you can get everything in. The hard part is when the crush comes and you have to make it smaller.
Yeah.
And you can't do it without knowing how the elevation is working out. As you reduce things, you've got to know how the proportions are happening. That's got to be done all in your head, all at the same time as you're working out on the plan.
Yeah. Okay.
Janet?
Yeah, I think it's an improvement over the first picture that we saw. I am very much in favor of keeping the look of the theater in the Greek Revival style. It's, that would be, I think that would, so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, so that the buildings speak back to one another and they seem more cohesive. Anything you can do in the design that replicates the look of a Greek Revival, I think I would love to see that. Anyway, and I think the gables that you've proposed are attractive, and like the thought that you're thinking about rental property there. That's a good thought. Anyway, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve has pretty much mimicked my thoughts on the, mimicking the house. And I think you've probably come away with some good suggestions for our next meeting or whenever you'd like to do it, Greg.
Yeah.
Would you like to
we
be
will.
back?
Yeah,
Okay.
we plan on being back every other meeting. Come back, and that way we can push this and get to the point that it's something acceptable.
I appreciate what you're doing and working with us. Thank you. Sam?
I just want to follow up on Janet's suggestion. I think the theater is depicted in those renderings as exactly the way it is right now. It's not changed at all. You've added the second floor, I think.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Right.
But you've been able to do it within the existing walls and everything.
Correct.
Oh, that's.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be back with another version next meeting. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Any other business? No?
Do we, I think we make a motion?
Yes, we do. Do I hear a second?
So made.
I think I will second motion to adjourn.
Janet
I
Whittemore.
vote to adjourn. Thank you.
Steve DeBoer,
I vote to adjourn.
Sam Stryber,
Sam Stryber votes to adjourn.
And Darcy Sequin votes to adjourn. Thank you all. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night,
Thank you.